Welcome to the Kratom Advocacy Podcast. My name is Lawrence, and today I'm here with several experts from the Kratom community. And before we go down the line and I have all of them introduce themselves, I just want to say that I met these people through Mr. Daniel Torres, who is, I believe, a distributor, and he was so open with me and so knowledgeable, and he hooked me up with experts all across the industry, people in the American Kratom Association, CEOs representing hundreds of thousands of farmers in Indonesia, and I wanted to share their expertise with you. So without further ado, I guess we could have people go down the line and introduce themselves and their titles and what their responsibilities are.
You'll go first. Yeah, we're here.
Oh,
We're
okay.
here. We're all here because of you.
Thank you, everyone. My name is Yohanes Cianes Walean. I'm the chairman of Koprabuh. Koprabuh actually a stand of Koperasi Produsen Anugerah Bumi Hijau. That's a very long name. So we made abbreviation, call it Koprabuh. When we built Koprabuh, it is not only for herbal. When we started from the forestry. It is for the sustainability of environment, and we do the energy as well. That's the principles that we make. So we are like more than 1 million people doing this, and we have like more than 2 million hectares of land of the forest. And 2016, we plant the trees. We make the most populated trees planting Guinness World Record in Indonesia. That's our commitment to do the environment. We put like more than 100,000 fruits for the monkeys. So the long-tail monkeys can go back to their habitat. This is something we always do, and go to the West Kalimantan and most of Kalimantan, the whole Kalimantan actually, and Aceh and Papua. We found out that there is the herbal that is very good, used by the indigenous and popular by the missionary who come to Kalimantan and brought it to the West. So the Western people get to know this herbal, the tea of the indigenous. Then they start to know this kratom. Then because of this kratom, make a good business. We have a division called the Herbal Division, and in the Herbal Division, we have kratom as one of the main commodities, which is head by Chicha. So my introduction is so long, I'll leave it to Chicha now. Thank you.
All right. Chicha.
Okay. My name is Chicha Yohanna, but people usually call me just Chicha. I'm famous just Chicha. Maybe if you asking around about Chicha Yohanna, not many people know, but Chicha, yeah, almost everybody knows in this industry, of course. So my role in Koprabuh itself is in the herbs division. So one in my division is kratom. I handle kratom. So in West Kalimantan itself, like in one region, it almost our member like almost 85% they work in the kratom garden. I know kratom since 11 years ago. We know how the history of kratom itself in here even because I'm Dayak. Actually, I am Dayak Nis tribe. So I know my ancestor used it as the herbal tea, and then for like the traditional medicine. So my role in this Koprabuh is build the system together with the farmers to make it better, because no one be honest to them before. Mostly the exporter didn't tell them what is this kratom for? Why they export it? Until like 5 years ago, farmers didn't know what is kratom for, how they produced it. So no one tell them that it must according to the SOP or for
Wow.
human or something like that. So that's why they dried it in the outdoor. So nobody's care about the quality itself because they didn't know. So from that situation, because I know and I start in this business like since 11 years ago, so that I know from the price that time is like $115 per kilo. Yeah, from that time till now, it's really the difference is really far. So that's why since 5 years ago, we try to make it better again. We try to educate people, but that's not easy because like only us initiatively bring them to change their like their habit, how they produce it, to let them know what is it for. So that is not easy because mostly it's grow in the rural area. Like we have to go, the only transportation to reach the farmer is only by the water transportation because kratom itself is grow on the riverside. So there is a really challenges. Yeah, from that. So till now, we can see the difference. Mostly people realize they already know what is kratom for. And they realize this is for human consumption, so they try make it better and better. But the other things, they really need support to build the proper facility to produce it. They are really far to get the information from the people. Even mostly areas in there, they didn't have signal. So that is the challenges or the problem with the farmers right now.
So you connect the farmers with the kind of city people and the people consuming.
Yeah.
You're kind of the go-between.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. In Hulukapuas itself, we had to drive like 16 hours only to the capital of the regions.
That's fascinating.
Yeah.
Icha is trying to tell that most important is she's the Dayak. Dayak is the indigenous of Borneo, of Kalimantan.
Ah,
And yeah, she's always with the farmers, and the Koprabuh actually the cooperative of farmers and the landowner. So we plant the trees in our land to do environment, but in the kratom harvest from the forest because there are so many trees in the forest, and we do cultivate the kratom in our plantation. So our farmers planting the trees in their land, but the land, the soil is the same character with the one in the nature. So we can get all the compound in the nature to our garden, to our own plantation. And then this kratom, most of the quality and quantity can be controlled because we plant it ourselves. And like Icha just said, because we find out that this is for food or for medicine in America, we have to treat it well, make it in GMP, and make it in food grade if possible in the processing of this kratom. So this is how we teach our farmer, because at the beginning we think we don't know that this is for food. Then yeah, back in like 5-6 years ago, then we start do the GMP and do the food processing for this.
really interesting to see the difference kind of between the Eastern perspective and the indigenous perspective of kratom and the Western perspective of kratom. Now that we've had CEO and Miss Iche introduce themselves, maybe we can have maybe Paul or Daniel from the West.
Paul,
Yes.
What do you think? Because the way I see it, I'm here because of these three, and because of you.
All right.
I got involved in this because I had been looking as a writer for something that was of interest, that there was a niche that I could get into. I was very excited when I learned about Kratom, tried it, and I've been following the FDA for many years. I've got some major gripes and problems with the way that they have tried to forbid us to use natural substances for our healing. Even though they work, they've been used traditionally and were used traditionally for hundreds of years, and we were healthier. Nevertheless, I'm passionate about health, and I'm 75 now, so that makes health a real concern. So it's a struggle. So I took up writing about Kratom. I was one of the first to say anything positive in the media about Kratom. And people came to me for advice. They read what I had to say and led me to be asked to join the AKA, the American Kratom Association board. I was the first member asked by Susan Ash to come in and was essentially the number 2 person there, the information coordinator, talking about the herb, promoting its understanding by people in the community, and also as a listening ear to many people who were having great success with diseases and problems that Big Pharma wasn't addressing, or they were poorly addressing with products that had a lot of side effects. So I was with the AKA for 4.5 years and parted amicably with them a few years ago, July of 2018. So I've been aware of this development and I met Chicha because she came to me wanting information to keep Kratom legal in Indonesia. So I was feeding her information, good studies from the FDA, well, not from the FDA, good studies from science here, legitimate, impartial science. And she was feeding that to their Bureau of Narcotics, BNN. So that's where I got connected with her. And I've been following her. She too is passionate about this product, about her people, and the opportunity this creates for a decent income for the farmers of these rural, very rural areas. So that's another long study. I hope to go to Indonesia at some point and tour, perhaps live there. I'm very interested in agriculture and have been for 40, 50 years. So I don't know what else I need to tell you, but I'm on board this project, and I've been asked to supervise finding the right top people to take care of distributing this product in the US. That's my position and my mission. That's it.
It's an important one, and it's definitely getting a lot more popular. So it's good to be on the scene now. Thank you.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. And Daniel, do you want to introduce
Yeah,
yourself?
I guess I'm next to bat. How you doing, everyone? I'm Daniel Torres. I've been in the Kratom industry since 2017. I used to be a fireman for New York City for 15 years. It was one of the best jobs I ever did. I unfortunately lost my career to personal struggles within the department itself, my personal life, and myself ended the day. And I met Kratom when I was a fireman. I was basically sometimes when people don't have a solution to problems, or something that's ongoing, they lead to things. And I went to a point where this is the first time like me learning about kratom, where I went to the job to seek help just through stress of the job of owning a business and just things like that. I got introduced to kratom just in that time frame, and it was something that I was using. Now, imagine back then. Now this is like 2014. No one knows about kratom. No one, is look how Mr. Yo is saying that just 5 years ago. I mean, they've been using it in Indonesia almost like a lot of reasons. I mean, some for food, some for feed the animals, some for headaches. For is normally is like for the day worker, the back breaker. One of the things that you're going to notice if you can with the raw leaf, you consume it. It's very similar to like coffee, like with that up well-being. And then
Yes.
also too, if your active body, and you have any soreness, you want to see like that soreness, if it's a 4 or 5, it's going to go to a 2 3. This is just personal stuff that I've noticed within myself. That's what I mean, like helping me out with just in general, and just for giving me the energy to do better things. And I lost my career 2017, and that's how I got into kratom, like as a business. So for me, kratom is has been a blessing through from consumption myself as a personal user, like building the relationship with the plant and learning it from the ground up to the business. Now I lost my career. Now I'm a husband. I have a house. I have a wife. I got 3 children. Now the career that I've been in since I was a kid, since I was 18, 19 years old, everything I know, I'm just boom, I don't know what to do. And before I was terminated from the fire department, I had needed a sponsor, and it don't matter. Now I got a sponsor. Now he's the one that reintroduced me to kratom. So now I get terminated. I've been using kratom. That's how I got into the business. I saw that on social media, Facebook, there was a kratom community, and I wanted to learn everything I could about kratom. So now I've 2018. Well, the first thing with any business, what you need a great source. So through my sources is how I found I met Chicha and whatnot. In 2017.
I can't forget. I'm
Yeah.
blessed to meet you that time. Yeah.
Sorry,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't know if I'm ranting,
You're
too
very
much.
blessed
Anyway,
to meet you,
intro.
Daniel.
Wait,
You got it. Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, I guess this is important because this is how people, are getting into the kratom industry. Some people are coming into it, especially now. Imagine they're hearing about kratom. How do you get into this industry? How you get into the business? Who else has done it? You know what I mean? And so now I contacted the AKA. I've met a group of people that were supposed to lead me. I gave them my information. I was nervous making videos for them and, sending out samples, to everybody. The next thing I know, my name, myself is on a list of vendors doing things wrong. And I'm like, I don't even know what's right. I'm calling you guys to see what's going, how to operate this. I told you guys, listen, embarrassing as this is, I lost my, a job I loved, I have my pension. What I do with it? Where do I put this? You know what I mean? So after being bamboozled over there, it is what it was, and that's how I met, with my sources and just, searching and just asking a lot of questions, and then you ask a lot of questions in this industry that they start not to like you, especially when you have, when you understand what you're talking about. And that's how I met Chicha. So now through being supplied, we're Chicha, connections with how I met Chicha. we've all started just talking about the industry, and I'm like, yo, nothing makes sense to me, And I was like, even going to a bank and being like, I have a kratom business. I lost my Chase bank account like that. Like me being
Wow.
with the ignorance of being like, yo, now also too, like I've learned about kratom such in a hard way. Now I lost my career. I was also in a drug court program. Like I was here thinking I'm building a legit, honest business. I have my lawyer, helping me write a blueprint and how to operate. We're both going back and forth. Mind this is all between me talking with the AKA too. And whatnot. I remember the courts was asking me for that I need to show what's my income, and I come, hey, I got kratom in a New York in a Manhattan drug court of like this DAs. I mean, it was just the ignorance was so but then I'm showing them like, yo, this is a real business for me, and they was like, no, they was like, listen, if anything, you haven't learned your lesson.
Wow. Okay. So they told you, no, that's not
Yeah,
what
no,
we're supposed to
basically,
do.
and this is how I'm finding out kratom is not what it is, So and then I'm also questioning, certain people within the AKA things, I stopped communicating with them around 2018, 2019. And that's how I met Chicha. Chicha 2020 to 2021, right, Paul? Is when I met Paul and under the World Kratom Organization. And there was a group of us. We started talking. We started, just, bringing up a lot of solid scenarios with the kratom industry itself. I've talked to thousands of members and customers of kratom one-on-one because I use kratom, and also too, I understand the business from the ground up, and I know to like seeing out there. One of my complaints was, people really got to stop confusing kratom with their recovery, or kratom with anything. It's just a tool, it's something that God gave you, to figure things, whatever. God didn't give it, for any reason. It's just here.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, especially back in the day, was leveraging that scenario, and I didn't like that. So that was coming from the background that I come from, the fire department, the medical field, in a sense, whatever, and now the kratom industry. So these were all conversations we brought up besides the kratom trade itself. And shortly later, I met Mr. Yo, right? 2023 basically is when I met Mr. Yo, Koprabuh, and like I understand the kratom industry from someone trying to get in, and also now literally being watching the agriculture portion of it, like how a plant that doesn't have any rules, regulations, everyone is the reason why the plant seems so sketchy, because everyone is learning about it. Where's the science? Where it's all coming out within the last 5 years, 10 years. So now, I mean, look what Mr. Yo said. We started treating it as consumption 5 years ago. So even the way kratom is being treated now, it should be treated like coffee. It now is when the standards of things like that is being put, well, not now, but talked about.
That's what everybody wants to know about. They want to know how it's being treated.
Right. So I guess that my introduction would just lead basically right into that, because this is the stuff that has been built. This is the stuff that Mr. Yo right here is representing. This is the stuff that Paul, the World Kratom Organization, as well, Koprabuh, and all of us is what we want to talk about. So but that's just the background. And as you see, we all have a lot more to say about that's all.
Yeah, it's a very, very cool, very, very personal
So
story.
that's that.
It's
That's how
great.
I met. That's and most recently, I know from your interview with Mr. Yo, you will know that they were here, not too
So
long ago in the
yeah, in America.
United States.
Oh yeah.
Got to see the kratom industry, firsthand.
Yeah.
They got to understand, they were talking to players that is above anyone's understanding of even their involvement within the industry. You know what I mean? And so that's why, like, whatever Mr. Yo is saying, whatever each is saying, whatever we're saying, it's from what's going on.
Okay, so now that we have kind of a background of everyone, we can maybe get into questions that people from communities have asked us. And whoever has the most relevant knowledge can just chime in. Tooth Fairy 51 says, ask them if they're spraying pesticides and insecticides on their trees. They probably won't tell the truth if they are spraying, but ask anyway. That was her question. This is a person from Reddit. So anybody want to chime in about pesticides and insecticides?
Okay, let me try to answer this. So this is what we just found in the farmer situation. So according to the price right now in the market itself that they get, it is not possible that farmers can afford to use the pesticide spray right now, because the price itself that they get, they can't afford to buy that. So because like kratom itself is grow in the riverside areas, sometimes other people, the farmers, used it to do the other commodities. So when the rains come or the flood around there, the plain around there contaminated with this pesticide.
Okay.
Something.
So basically, these pesticides, we never use it. This is our clarification. In our plantation, since we find out that we need to go for the good management practice in doing the producing, we don't use pesticide. We don't use anything not organic, because we know that this is selling to America for export, and it is for consumption, human consumption. Actually, as I mentioned before, we never know what it is for before we find out. Kratom in our in Indonesia, in our ancestor, actually we use it as the local. We consume this as a tea, and it's for hundreds of years. From the indigenous, it is our tea actually. So we consume it, but when we sell it, people are just buy, and we don't know what they do it, what it is for. This is what Chicha said back in those days. But later on, then we find out that we need to go for the GMPs, which is maybe starting at like 2017, 2018. We start do the GMP. We promote the GMP, and for this pesticide, kratom farmer, they will not afford to buy the pesticide and spray the pesticide to their kratom. And the way to do it also very hard. The kratom, mostly of the kratom, kratom is grow in the water. All the material that come from the chemistry, I mean the chemistry, we do not apply to kratom, because kratom is growing in the water. You cannot put the fertilizer, you cannot put the pesticide. Very hard to put the pesticide, and the water is flowing. So it is hard to spray it. But maybe, just like Icha said, maybe it is contaminated from other plantations. Like in that area, they have some palm oil plantations. Maybe when they do the pesticide to the palm oil, then contaminate it.
This is so
So the-
interesting. I'm
yeah.
sorry to interrupt you, because that actually goes right into another person's question. It's okay, you found potential contamination. What contamination did you find, and how do you test for contamination, and how often do you test for contamination?
Yeah, that is the most important thing. I think Icha will go by detail, but let me give you the overview first. To take the contamination, we talk about the outside one, which is the contamination come to the surface of the leaves, which is maybe contaminated by pesticides, and because of the flooding, these trees are on the water. So when flooding come, the leaves, some residues like the sand take by flooding live in the leaves. Maybe on that leaf they have the heavy metals because come with the sands. This is from the outside. So we clean it. We just wash it, clean it. But the ingredients that come through the leaf itself from its growing, it's grow together inside
Yes.
the leaf. That's another thing. Kratom is only in the certain area, which is in the riversides and the lakesides, and it is actually clean. The soil that kratom can grow is we call it endemic, and the kratom grow in certain character of soil, which is if you find that the soil that the kratom grow contain those heavy metals or any other ingredients that is not good, maybe this is a very rare one, because the kratom grow in certain endemic soil only, and if you put it to another kind or another character of soil, it will not come with the content that you find in this kratom, the compound. So it is very hard to get the compound inside the leaves, grow with the leaves. It's very hard. I think the compound in the leaves is just the 50 over compound that is everybody.
Yeah,
Yes,
he's talking
the
about
alkaloids.
he's talking about the alkaloids.
The
Okay.
alkaloids,
Yeah,
there.
just to make
So
sure. Yeah.
only that, it will not be the metal grow with be one of the alkaloids. I believe this metal, we can take it. First thing, we wash it away. Second thing, when we do the grinding, we make use the grinding machine that is food grade. It is made of stainless steel, 3 or 4 or above, which is we will not contaminate the leaves with the residues from the machine. And in this machine, we can put the electromagnetic, which is the machine, the whole body of the machine have the electromagnetic that can take all the
Wow.
metal material from the leaves to use. We cannot just use any kind of grinding machine to make this. That is the GMPs. And this kind of machine, we started. Now many people have it, but we start to do that.
Yeah. So Koprabuh was among the first that was basically using the food grade standards for kratom that they have in place, with the machines and all, basically.
Yeah, when we do this, no one is doing, because as Icha said, we find out that we have to serve the market in responsibility. You cannot just sell the kratom and actually, because there is a label say this is not for human consumption, then you just make it like the label. The label said it's not for human consumption. When we sell it, it is suggested by the buyer in the US. But when we find out that actually this is not like that, it is used for consumption, then we have to be responsible. We have to make the GMP or the food grade to sell it. We must do that. And this is what we push and we promote to the buyer. Let's agree on this. Please, we produce the one like that. You only purchase the one like that. Don't purchase the one different than that.
Yeah, don't take any risks. And people
this
are
is-
actually asking about, if you don't mind me, because it also leads into another question someone asked named Samurai Simon Surreal. He said he wants to know if the overall quality of the leaf has gone down over the years. Is the demand causing a flood of less potent kratom because there is so much kratom to ship out, so many more people want it? Do you now have to sell less potent leaves? Do you have to rush it more? How does that affect safety and quality?
This is our first concern: safety and good quality to sell. This is the Koprabuh #1 SOP. Actually, we must make something in better quality, in GMP food grade, and responsible to the consumer. So this is what we promote, and we make the agreement with AKA. When AKA come to Indonesia, we all go to the Chief of Staff of President, and over there we make the joint statement that we only produce the one with the SOP, and they will only purchase, actually, this one understood. We produce only this, then they only purchase that. It's supposed to be like that. I feel very good and happy with the AKA because we signed this and we set up the system already. I think one day we all will follow the system with the AKA and the Koprabuh and everyone.
So you're setting the standard. I wanted to ask, since we're on the topic of safety, contaminants, and quality, I wanted to ask, I don't know why Paul kind of pops into my head on this one. Are you concerned, Paul, that pure 7-OH extracts will jeopardize the legality of kratom or present new legal challenges for it?
They could. They certainly could. The FDA seems to be changing their stance on kratom. There's some discussion that, well, they did a study recently. They did the study, and the study came out showing that kratom was well tolerated, up to 12 grams taken within 5 minutes. That's a large dose. That's a lot, way more than I would take. But so that's an issue, though, because that tiny percent, and most kratom has unmeasurable quantities of 7-OH, 7-hydroxymetragenine. So it's not really a concern, but when you isolate it and you give it to people full strength, that is the one alkaloid that is directly communicating with the opioid receptors and only the opioid receptors. So that could cause tensions. That, and it should. I don't know. I haven't had experience with that. I'm very happy with natural kratom.
The way it is naturally, even the way Mr. Yo was saying that naturally, and it needs a certain type of soil, pH levels. I mean, it really goes down to the science to be able to have the Neutrogena levels and whatnot. So now you have the plant has over 54 different alkaloids. They all work together like a symphony, like an orchestra, playing beautiful music. Like for a long time or just whatever, naturally pure raw, you don't really hear much that issues with it. Like, look, the FDA came back with their own studies saying that it's up to 12 grams of whatever studies, but that's of the raw leaf. You know what I mean? So now when you get into the extracts, when you get into this 7-OH, and that's an isolate. Besides, the extracts are, you're extracting and you're focusing on, like, the Neutrogena, aspect of it. Now you're removing everything else and you're focusing on these two compounds. And now it's not even at its full strength. You're times 20, times 50, times 70 in it. Come on. You know what I mean? So now if now for a person who's used to taking, say 8 grams of regular powder, they're talking about pure raw leaf. They're not talking about extracts. Now, when you see the court cases, when you see that all the noise that is being stirred with kratom is of something that's been enhanced. It is of extracts. But then they'd be like, okay, kratom is safe, kratom is this and that. Yeah, kratom leaf.
Excellent.
I don't think I have anything more to say, but
it's okay. Excellent. No, that's great. I don't even
we
mind.
can help you with KratomOne. We can help you with as much kratom as you need. And look, it comes from Koprabuh, World Kratom Organization. It comes from here. So
from Koprubah, the KratomOne, Mr. Yohanes.
I'm part of the original distributors.
Yeah, as Daniel said, whatever we export is only the leaves, the raw one. We sell it to America. The regulations is we can only send the raw material actually. So we don't do any processing, like do the isolate to take out the nitrogen or the 7-OH, those things. We don't do that. Those things are in America, not in Indonesia. We don't do that. But business-wise, this is something that put the reason for people to purchase the kratom. So for us, this is a kind of business as well. But when they use it over there and make use of this to standardize the kratom, then that's affect the business. It's like they only purchase the kratom with certain level of misogyny. Then this is different thing. It's affect the business. And they will say, okay, because from Aceh, the misogyny is lower, then the price we will cut it, or we even reject it. That's problem for us. A lot of people like the kratom from Aceh because though the misogyny is lower, but another compound is good. And naturally, they take the kratom from Aceh. They are happy to use it. And the other one from Papua, also they like it. The kratom from Papua. And the most popular one is the kratom from West Kalimantan and Central Kalimantan and the East Kalimantan, because the misogyny level is higher. So the business make it like, okay, the higher misogyny, higher price.
So it's like it's all it is about the mitra level, right? Yeah. Well, because
Okay.
to us, I mean, as a Westerner, that's what we call kratom. We call them the same thing. The other compounds are not even really known to the average consumer. They only know mitra, and they don't even say the full name. But yeah, that's really fascinating. And Daniel and Paul, or anyone, maybe you guys being in America, maybe you guys know about some, before we go, some legal battles you're currently facing, or Kratom is currently facing, or you know, what's keeping it, what's coming up, any big, you know, state fights or big FDA decisions, you know.
There are talks about the FDA wanting to regulate kratom, finally. The AKA has been asking them forever to have a meeting to talk about this. The AKA is de facto has had to take on this job, at least for their clients, and they're promoting the GMP use. But the whole industry needs to be regulated. And as much as I hate to say that, somebody has to mind the store. Somebody has to take a look at and make sure everybody's making things by the same methods, because there are people, just for competitive reasons, that will try to spike the high level of 7-OH in their compound. They can put additional mitragynine itself in the compound, and they miss the fact that kratom is such a intricate mix of alkaloids, some of which are anti-opioids. And that keeps a ceiling on, you don't get that euphoric opioid experience. And that's fine, because most of us have a job to do. We have work to do. We need to stay on task and not sit around daydreaming and watching TV. But the FDA is starting to talk about doing and regulation, and that's could be a problem. We'll have to regulate them, keep them under control, and not have them, ruin the cost benefit ratio. That's one thing that's going on. There are people that are seeing healthy young people die who are taking kratom, and they're immediately hiring a lawyer to try to make millions of dollars from the death of their loved one. I don't believe it's kratom killing these people. I have my own beliefs, but I think it's best not to say what they are publicly.
Okay.
But there are many reasons people die. Americans in particular take a lot of drugs of all kinds. People my age are taking things that are legal, official, regulated by the FDA, like Benadryl is one thing. I had to recommend to a friend of mine. This has been connected with the development of Alzheimer's. It's very important. You got to look at this from the long-term view. We don't want heavy metals. Most of the heavy metals comes from old processing coffee grinders, that heat up and leach some, mainly iron and nickel, into the product that is processed that way with ancient, antiquated coffee grinders. So you need to do things right, and somebody needs to oversee the quality. And fortunately, the nation of Indonesia has the wisdom to say, look, we know this is a safe product. We've been using it for hundreds of years. Our people have been using it by the millions, and they see it as a medicine. They see it as a performance enhancer, like we use coffee. And it has some unique advantages that coffee doesn't have. So they want to do this right, and they don't want us to screw it up with our tendencies. So somehow we need to get the Indonesian government to regulate it before it is shipped to us. And then it's our problem that nobody enhances things without labeling them, that they add certain alkaloids or take out alkaloids and mix, screw up the mix that keeps this so balanced and perfect. So those are the main things. I see the FDA coming in and regulating. I don't trust them.
Yeah.
Right off.
Right.
The main part of their income comes from the pharmaceutical licensing of drugs. And they have let some very dangerous substances on the market. They have fought substance, the word I want. Well, here's one. Something called NMN has been found to be helps people age more healthily. So they are trying to ban this supplement so that somebody can turn this into a pharmaceutical by tweaking the molecules slightly so that they can patent it.
It's different. Say, yeah, it's mine. Yeah.
But you see,
they can own a piece of nature.
Look,
we got to fight that.
Right. Look at the nature of things. Look at right now, we're talking about tweaking things, What do you think they're doing with the isolates? What do you think they're doing with the extracts? It's to become a patent, is to be able to have that level of ownership for whoever makes it, whoever has, the recipe of that. The kratom industry in the United States is set up as a supplement industry that's set up for extracts or even isolate. It's not set up for pure raw kratom. The regulations have to come from Indonesia. And one of the things that we're pushing with Koprabuh and the World Kratom Organization is that it needs to be food grade, because rightfully that's what it is. Rightfully, it's the family of the coffee tree, of the coffee plant. Animals are eating this kratom for a full course nutrients. They've been using this for hundreds of years, like chewing on the leaf, right? Taking it out, working, for whatever reason. So now now people want to talk about pesticides. You want to hear the sad fucking truth about that? They don't got money for pesticides. So people are like, oh, they're going to lie to you and this and that. They've been exploited. They've been lowboard so fucking bad that they don't got money for pesticides. So and this is because people from America, without mentioning names, but no one got to be a rocket science. They're going over there. They is a divide and conquer scenario. Kratom went, you have an interview with Mr. Yo. Kratom went from $100 a kilo from over there to $1. Yeah. So now for the person who asked about the Kratom quality for the last 3 or 4 years,
5 years, yeah.
I'll tell you straight up from being understanding, depending, most of the people, you're probably getting mixed product. You're probably not getting 100% kratom, but it don't matter. Why? Because over here in the United States, they either robbing Indonesia without, for not paying them the money for the tonnage, the containers worth of kratom, and it doesn't matter the quality, because why? Because over here they're going to make it an extracts. They only need 2 compounds out the whole thing. Just to sum things up, just what I mean. So now, here with Koprabuh, and Koprabuh is a collective of over 2, maybe I'm, Mr. Yo, what, over 200,000 kratom farmers. But what people got to understand with Koprabuh is not just kratom. They are agriculture for Indonesia. If anyone knows about turning a product that is no regulations, no nothing, and the recommendations would be dumb. Not people from over here, the United States, are not maybe they're growing it over here, but they those, it's not the same. You know what I mean? From Indonesia. So now Koprabuh, the regulations, food grade, like coffee, end of the day, Indonesia is going to sign off on what is needed for kratom. And end of the day, I mean, even the AKA understands that, in order for the kratom industry to be fixed, it needs to start from the soil. It needs to start, with people who are caring for it, controlling the, each portion of it. It doesn't go, it doesn't, the way it is with Koprabuh and the standards now, it doesn't pass to point, it doesn't get to B if A is not okay. This was the agreement that the AKA went over there in August of 2022 to agree on, and still 2024. I don't know if things change, Mr. Yo, but right now, it's us talking about things like this. Focus on the states like Alabama that has kratom equal to heroin. You need that's where your attention needs to be. Now if they agreed, a long time ago, in which from poor, we had a Zoom not too long ago saying that they weren't, it was just lip service or something, right? Didn't they hold a meeting with us, something like that? And they held the meeting the same day, knowing that Mr. Yo and Icho flying back to Indonesia, knew that they couldn't make it. They want to, plan it that time, when they're flying and they couldn't voice themselves, So I'm just saying,
Okay.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Mr. Yo.
No, no.
And this will be our last because our hour's almost, but Mr. Yo, you can close.
Yeah, finish it.
Let me take the opportunity to give you an overview. The extract and the isolate. I want to make this two words. In Indonesia here, when we call extract, meaning we just extract the water out from the leaves. So we have the dry leaves, we grind it, and we send it. That's an extract. But they isolate only the mitragynine and the 7-OH. That one go to America, then they make it. About the business, do you think how big is the cake between this mitragynine and the kratom, the extract? The kratom now is very low because of the mitragynine is so high. Okay, what we agree with the AKA 8 August 2022 is sending out the high quality of kratom. We send the kratom in a good quality, the clean kratom, the SOP kratom. This is signed by AKA and us in Indonesia, in the Palace of Indonesia. And they asked the Chief of Staff of Indonesia, the President of Indonesia, to send a letter to the FDA telling that we will send only the clean kratom to America. And then now they make the same thing. The Minister of Trade of Indonesia say, okay, we will send only the kratom with the high quality. So now everything is the same. What we sign with the AKA, sent by the Chief of Staff of President of Indonesia and the Minister of Trade of Indonesia, all in the same page already. We will only send the high quality, the clean kratom to America. But the business in America, this one has become so low. Why? They don't really do the business on this anymore. They like to do the isolate. And for the isolate, what they do? They only take the mitragynine and the 7-OH. What happened if the kratom sent to them with the pesticide, with the metal? What happened? They don't care, actually. because they only take the methionine and the 7-OH. Then how this system kill the kratom? Because they will test the kratom. The high quality that we send, they will test. Oh, the methionine is so low, but it is clean one, can be used, can be consumed right away. No problem. They want the one not clean, no problem. They want this because they can use for the methionine isolate and make the better business. So what is the meaning of signing together the high quality clean kratom? If you do this, if you do the isolate, you don't need to sign this. You don't need to have these regulations because you only take the methionine and 7-OH. It's come with the pesticide, no problem. It's come with the heavy metal, no problem. Why? What is your problem? So why that they keep saying the heavy metals, the methionine level, the pesticide? Why did they keep saying this? Just to kill the kratom business, just to lower down the price of the kratom. So when they take it, they receive the shipment from Indonesia, from the farmer that is not responsible for clean one. They send it there, they purchase that, they take it very low price. They have no problem with those things. And they said, this FDA is looking for the clean one. Not true. It's a lie.
They don't care.
They don't care. They only take the methionine and the 7-OH.
Yeah.
This is one story for you. Maybe you guys ever heard it, but I want to tell you this. There are so many productions here with the non-stainless steel machineries, which is it will be heavy metal content, make the heavy metal content to the powder there. You know, these machineries, we call it disc mill. And disc mill are all over because they give it to the farmer. This disc mill is very cheap machine. They give it to the farmer to produce and send it to them. And you know, when they do this production,
Who gives it? The FDA gives it? Who gives it to the farmers? Sorry.
not the FDA, the buyer.
The buyer. Okay. All right.
The buyer, the vendors.
Okay. The vendors. Okay.
The
vendors.
USA Kratom, yeah.
USA Kratom vendors. They give it to the farmers. And then what happened? You know, these people are grinding the kratom, make the powder. They work in the factory like 10 hours in a day, in one day. You know, when they come in, they are clean, they come out, they are like Hulk, the green creatures, because all the kratom all over their bodies. And that's show you that the machine quality is out. Everything with the heavy metals is in there. But this is what they are looking for because the price is lower and massive. Okay, the point is, if you say kratom is poisonous or killing people, that's impossible. You see, 10 hours, the guy come in and come out with all the tree.
Covered in it.
How many kratom they take?
I don't know.
Who
knows?
They're alive. They take it every day. They take it from the nose, from the mouth, from all over the body.
Their sweat glands.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Engulfed in it.
They never die. There is no death case in Indonesia. So I may tell you there is no death case for kratom. It's in Indonesia, no death case. Everywhere cannot be.
That's a big statement.
Yeah,
It is the key of Indonesia indigenous for hundreds of years.
that's
Nice.
No death case.
that's a great story, and not one deaf people covered head to toe in Kratom. Wow, okay, that's a powerful visual. We'll have to stop there. We're over our hour, but it was so informative and so much fun. I can't wait to do this again. And to anyone who's viewing, please, I'll set you up with my Discord server and on Reddit. I will send you information on how to submit your questions. So next week we can do this again and we can get another topic going and you guys can get involved. Thank you everyone for doing this today. It has been so cool talking with all of you.
One question.
Go for it.
Just to say one last thing.
Go for it.
You know, anyone who listened to this interview, you know, excuse that we're not too familiar of being interviewed, or you know, we're just used.
Yeah.
You did great.
In the trenches, you know, working and understanding the kratom industry. Now, if you want 100% pure kratom, KratomOne, Koprabuh, you know, World Kratom Organization. Those are just key words just to think about when you want 100% of the purest, well, God gave you leaves. That's all. So,
and you can trace it from the product to the soil.
Exactly. Yes,
You're
you
responsible
can
for
trace
that.
it from the product itself that you have in your hands to watching being picked off the trees itself by professional tree. There you go, Paul.
Awesome. Paul, yep, he's got it.
Right there, you scan that
There's a
right
whole
there.
pharmacy in there.
You can
Potions
see,
and-
you become part of the story. You become part of the kratom journey. You know, as you literally watch the videos of the farmers picking it the right way. You know, 100% pure kratom right there.
Awesome. All right. Thank you all so much. Really cool talking to you, Miss Chicha. Hopefully next time we can get you near a Wi-Fi emitter or whatever. I don't know if you can hear me.
Correct.
She's gone. Okay, well, next week we'll do it again, God willing.
Thank you.
All right. God
Thank
bless
you so
everyone.
much.
Take care.
Thank you.